Hey, GED students, don't get intimidated by tricky examples, okay? Let's use what we know to reason this out. We can do it. So, first of all, let's just start with the question. If p squared is equal to 324, what must be true? And they ask us to choose all the correct answers. Good news, you won't have to do that on the GED. But right now we're reviewing a lot in one question, so that's why we're doing this, okay? So on the GED, there'll just be one correct answer. But if p squared is equal to 324, what must be true? Now, you might be saying, Kate, you haven't even taught me to solve equations yet. You told me we're doing that next unit. Yeah, but I've taught you a lot of mathematical reasoning, so let's think about what this means. What I'm saying here is there's some number p that if I square it, I get 324. The answer will be 324. So sometimes it's easier for students if you just make a question mark. There's a number that if I square it, I get 324. That's all I mean. And so let's go ahead and see which one of these must be true. Now, a lot of these look kind of ugly, but I like the looks of F, G, and H here because it's just P equals a number. So like P equals this big number, P equals that big number, P equals that big number. I think that's really where I'd like to start here. So let's do what I call a guess and check and see if I take that number and call it P and square it, will I get 324? Well, right away, one of them I can see is much too large. If I were going to take 104,976 and square it, oh my goodness, I'd get something huge. Take that number and multiply by itself, oh my land. I'm going to have digits all over my paper. That's just silliness. It's way too big. Okay, even 162. Remember, 162 squared, so I'm saying if this is p and p squared is equal to 324, will it equal 324 if I take 162 and multiply it by itself? Yeah, if I were adding, okay, I'd get 324, but if I'm multiplying, I'm going to get something huge. I mean, already at the beginning, let's see. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 12. And I have 324 and all I've multiplied by is the 2's. Now I'm going to keep going. This thing is going to get bigger and bigger. Yeah, no, this doesn't make sense either. Okay, well, hopefully it's 18, huh? Let's give it a try. 18 times 18. So 8 times 8 is 64. Carry the 6. 8 times 1 plus 6, I get 14. 8 and 1. And, ooh, look at that. I do get 324. So it must be true that P is equal to 18. Whew, just having that little piece to unlock is going to help us a lot. Okay, so now let's go ahead, though, and take a look at the rest of these guys. Now, these others get a little trickier, and students kind of freak out. You guys lose it a little bit sometimes as things get trickier. So my advice to you is simplify where you can. Simplify where you can. What am I talking about when I say simplify where you can? Well, I'm just saying that some of these expressions I can't do anything with, but some of them I can. Like, okay, P, the expression on the left-hand side, I can't do anything with, but 324 squared, I could make that simpler by doing that math. In fact, I did it earlier. I started doing it. And I said if I take 324 and I square it, I multiply it with itself, I get something really big, a whole lot bigger than 324, obviously. So if p squared is equal to 324, p itself cannot be equal to 324 squared. That would be too large. This doesn't make sense. And guess what? If A doesn't make sense, then B doesn't make sense either because they mean the exact same thing, right? 324 squared is exactly the same thing as 324 times 324. See how we can just go one by one and not get overwhelmed? Okay, now C looks pretty darn tempting, but one of the nice things is that we already figured out what P had to equal. P had to equal 18. So let's take a look. Well, what if P was 18? And P was 18. Would 18 plus 18 give me 324? Well, heck no, it wouldn't. It'd give me 36. That's just silliness. 36 is not equal to 324. Look at my math reasoning coming into play. This isn't really about algebra. This is about those reasoning skills. Don't get panicked by my language, okay, guys? But take a look at this one. It says P times P would have to equal 324. Well, we already said P was 18. If I take P times P, yeah, you guys, that's just P squared. That's how we figured it out in the first place, right? 18 times 18 gave me 324. So D must be a right answer. Nice job. We only have one more to evaluate, and it's probably the trickiest one of the lot. But remember what square root means. So this says P would have to be equal to the square root of 324. Well, the square root means what number? Squared equals 324. Guys, that's just another way of saying P squared is equal to 324. Yeah, square and square root are opposites. So that is a right answer as well. Ooh, that was hard work. Did you follow me? Correct answers are D, E, and H, and you better drop your questions in the comments this time because that was tricky. All right, you guys, happy learning.